Hi class, so this here is the course tour video, and what I'm going to do in a moment is share my screen. So you are going to uh, be to see this window go to infinity for a second, but shortly thereafter it should now look like bright space. So if you start at the course home for 510, you'll see that this is set up very much as um, most of the URI online courses. There's a start here section. There's a welcome with learning objectives specific to the social policy topic of this critical topics and policy course. Um, you will find also under the start here a brief meet your professor section. It has my bio. This here is my Google Voice number. That should forward calls and texts to either my office or my mobile, depending on where my calendar thinks I am. It's not always perfect, um, but if I miss you, I will get you back. And it's usually better than most ways of getting a hold of me. And of course, there's always my email. Um, or you can write to me through Brightspace. So if you go back here, I have a welcome video, short little 4 or 5 minute video where I welcome you to the course. Um, I have the syllabus and schedule, where you can find, the learning objectives, the required textbooks. By the way, for the first week, everything you need to read in this one is up there and scanned as a PDF. So if it takes you, a week or something to get the books in, that's fine. I think you should be able to find all three combined for about 25 bucks if you look around used for these. I'm not trying to break the bank with this. I am not trying to make you buy the most expensive ones. These are pretty inexpensive paperbacks that were pretty common. You should have a pretty decent shot finding them. Um, and they're kind of interesting too because Iceland here was a sociologist, right, and sort of taught sociology and social work. Adelman's a lawyer and sort of teaches law and public policy, and Gillen's a political scientist and he's the chair of public policy. And so you get the policy perspective from a political scientist, a sociologist, and a lawyer. And I think that's kind of important because these angles all matter. Um, so you can go through this yourself, but basically, like I said before, the sixth forum posts, but there's four main assignments in the course: the midterm, the final. They're not cumulative, right? So the midterm is like through week 4, and then from 4 to 7 is the final. There's a preliminary policy paper that you can kind of use to get your thoughts out, so that when you get to your final policy proposal, you should be well armed. And one should kind of build into the other. This one's doing week 5, the next one's doing week 7. So what you have up front is a lot of reading and forum posts, and the writing and stuff. The midterms in week 4, the preliminary papers in week 5, the final and the final paper of week 7. So the reading's very light in week 7. So the reading purposely gets lighter as the course goes on. It's purposely front loaded, and the assignments are purposely light up front, so you have time to read, and they're purposely backloaded. This is by design. This is the type of thing where there's a lot of stuff to get through before you're kind of ready to move on and write it. So um, here's the grading breakdown, and um, yeah, I think you'll find this is all pretty sensible when you get to the um, actual course schedule here. Important things to note: there are required readings every week, and then there are supplemental readings. You are not required to read the supplemental readings, right? That's why they're not required. They may help you understand things deeper. They may help you answer that question that reading the required reading left in your mind. They may help you function as sources for your papers. So you can use them as you see fit, but if you don't read them, you should still be able to pass everything in this course. The required readings, on the other hand, you really do have to read. Week 2, I want to be very clear, is the most reading heavy week. There are 6 required readings. They're long. The second required reading is quite long. Um, I warn you and I say, look, you can um, sort of push some of these out to week 3 and 4 and get away with it. It's possible. Um, so, I'm assigning them all here, but realize as long as you finish them before the midterm, I think you're going to be okay. You may just want to skim some of them and go back to read them more deeply later. The supplemental readings, again, there's a lot of them. This is the most reading heavy week. Only thing to do again is the forum post. Week 3, also only the forum post. Reading gets quite a bit lighter. Um, and I'm starting to get you prepared to do your midterm for week 4. So week 4, you have the midterm and the forum post. Readings lighter again. Week 5, readings lighter still, even though there's 3 of them, they're shorter. There's only one supplemental reading. Your preliminary policy papers due then with your forum post, so it's not quite as busy. Week 6, again, reading gets shorter, 2 supplemental, 2 required. They're fairly short. They're 20 sort of page things each. And all you have to do is a forum post. So you have some time. You should be working on your final paper, working on your final exam, whatever you have to do, so that when you get to week 7, you're not overwhelmed because both your final exam and your final policy proposal are due that Sunday on week 7. There is no forum post on week 7, so that's all you have to concentrate on. And there's only one 19-page reading, so it's not a heavy reading week. It's just a week to wrap things up. And then we have our bibliography. These are the materials you'll be reading throughout the course. So uh, a lot to learn, a lot to do, um, but it's totally manageable and pretty reasonable when it all comes down. So now that I've gone through the syllabus, I think the rest of this is pretty simple. There's this course tour video. There's a description on how the course works in tech if you have any trouble. The first week, there are 2 sort of forums to answer, right? One's just the introduction. That's just so we can get to know each other a little bit. And the second one, which will show up here, your introduction and your week 1 discussion, right? So, every week you'll have this, sort of looking ahead overview. And you also have your to-do list. This might be your most important page every week. This tells you what we're trying to do this week. There will be a video from me and another video every week. The videos from me are processing, just like this one should be by the time you hear it. So they'll be up on the 3rd at some point, the first day of class. But other than that, you should be able to see um, everything else by the time you see this video. So, you have your introductory activity and your forum post. All your readings, your required ones are right here. You can just click them and they pop up for you. Keep in mind, sometimes the reading pop-up will have more pages than you have to read. So, just read the pages as they go. The page numbers I put on the web page are going to correspond to the pages in the material, not the pages up here on the PDF. So beware of that because I wrote them down looking at the physical book, not necessarily at the PDF. So keep that in mind. Obviously, like page 593 to 638, when you open this, you're like, wait, there's only 30 pages. Yeah, well, this was part of a bigger thing. So, don't stress about it too much. The same thing with this, right? Fox et al. You can see this was part of a bigger thing. So we're on page 568. Don't stress about it. I gave you the pages mostly you need. And if you want to confirm, you can go back here and say, well, what pages are I supposed to read? Oh, 567 to 592. You come back here, you say, okay, but did he end it at 592? Maybe it went on too long, right? And so you have to kind of look and see, oh, all right, 592 kind of, there's 591 too. All right, so it sort of ends there. So all this appendix stuff I don't necessarily have to read. So, just keep the page numbers in mind. And if I say all or I don't say page numbers, I mean for you to read the whole thing. These short videos, usually I try to make sure they're not more than about 10 minutes long. This one happens to be about 4. It's from the University of Wisconsin-Madison on how poverty is measured. I'll try to get them from as neutral sources as I possibly can, um, so that we can kind of learn some basics here. And that's how every other week will go, right? So week 2 through 7 goes like that. Your discussions, all the questions every week. There's going to be 6 questions. They're all in here, except for week 7. We won't have any questions. Then in week 1, we have the introduction as well as the set of 6 questions. Um, the 4 assignments, right? The midterm, the final, and the 2 papers. This paper can build onto this paper, and yes, you can use things you wrote here for this one. That's fine. Um, so it's a pretty straightforward course. The announcements will pop up on the right-hand side. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But I think that's been your course tour for PSC 510 in spring. So with that said, let me go back to my infinite hole here, and we will end the stream.